Welcome back to another week of Mortgage Matters in Minutes. I'm your host and owner of Mortgage Specialist, Brent Rasmussen. Today, we're going to talk about home loans and divorce. And it can be a very complicated situation, but we've been through it personally, myself, and we've helped hundreds of clients as a certified divorce lending professional go through the process of either refinancing their home or purchasing a home either during a divorce, before a divorce, after a divorce, because there is legal complications. And we're going to chat about that today. We work with many family practice attorneys and have been through this process hundreds of times to help guide people. While we know it's not an easy time and it's stressful, it's still a situation that happens to many people across the country. If you look at statistics that 50% of individuals that become married get divorced, it is a high number. And a lot of people will be most stressed throughout this process because housing is something that we feel is, something that keeps us safe and sound. And having that in the back of our mind sometimes gives us extra stress. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today and go through a little bit of why there's complications and what can be done. So first, let's chat about the legal complications of divorce. Basically, there is a divorce decree or a pending litigation that's filed at the courthouse, letting people know that this situation or lawsuit is going to be happening. So, because that is a lawsuit, lending doesn't know what's going to happen with that lawsuit. And so, because there's lots of numbers floating around, values of homes, values of assets, income, child support, alimony, there's a lot of legalities that lending wants to have true and straightened out and know what's going to happen before we can provide a loan for you. Biggest thing people want to chat about is obviously child support, alimony, any kind of support that exists. And that's a big kicker because you might receive $1,000 in child support or you might owe $1,000 in child support. That's a big, huge number in regards to what we look at for either income or debts in regards to a liability. Obviously, when you're going through a divorce, you're not technically legally separated or you're not actually divorced. You're still married until the divorce decree is done. So, in the state of Nebraska, if you are married and you purchase property or you deal with property, there's going to be a time where your spouse needs to be notified of you obtaining more assets. So, if you are still married and you go out and purchase a real estate property, your name as a spouse is going to be on that property as well. So that's another legal ramification that can occur throughout the real estate process that we have to deal with. One is who owes the money or who owes the mortgage, and two, who owns the property. Those can be two different scenarios, possibly. And we don't want to make it too complex here, but we need to address both of those situations. And many times we hear throughout the process, I'll just sign a quitclaim deed and take the other person's name off the ownership, but we still haven't dealt with the actual loan itself. And that's where we're going to chat a little bit about today. So we're going to talk about a little bit about four different types of scenarios that we can assist with. There's many more than this, but these are the basic types that exist. One is, hey, both of us as spouses are on a loan together. We want that to come down to just one person because moving forward, you don't want liability for the other party to affect your credit, basically. So we look at, hey, can you refinance in your own name? What are the terms and rates and loans look like? And do you qualify? So that is a very simple transaction that happens on a regular basis. As we know, with rates increasing over time, some people don't want to do that, but that's also a different scenario that has to transact through the divorce and figure out who's obtaining the property, who's going to take the loan moving forward. Number two is, okay, we are refinancing, but my house is worth a sum of money and I have equity in that property and I want that equity back, or one spouse wants that equity back. So we do refinances to pull out the money that's needed in equity and give that money to the other spouse to make sure that they're getting half of their equity, because the intent of the divorce is to split everything down the middle. We're not going to be able to cut a house in half or a car in half, but what we will do, or what the process does, is adds up all assets, adds up liabilities, and tries to get those to go 50-50 between both individuals. So number two is pulling cash out as giving equity to one spouse or the other. The third process is doing a refinance after the divorce is over and you're only taking out the mortgage. You're not pulling any cash out. You're just taking your name and putting the loan and the house just in one party's name. And that happens generally after the divorce decree, but also if the divorce decree is finalized and there is an equity buyout, meaning there's equity that the spouse would receive, we can do that and give a one-time payment. And after the decree is finalized, it makes it a little bit easier for different reasons, and we can meet and go through many of these things. Last is I want to buy a new home during the divorce. And that can be also complicated because, again, as we chatted, if you are buying a property, your spouse is going to be on that property as ownership, even though the marriage is not working out. But until the divorce is finalized, you're still going to be on that property in the state of Nebraska. And different states have different lending rules. But that's another reason why we look at scenario one by pulling out cash to give to one of the parties. Now that they now can use that cash as a down payment on another property as well. So we've talked a little bit about the different scenarios. There's many more than that. We can talk for hours about different scenarios because not every two parties have the same situation. Some have lots of assets, some don't. Some have lots of equity, some don't. So we look at every situation a little bit differently to make sure we're guiding and advising the best possible way that's out there. We at Mortgage Specialists focus on these types of loans. You can see that on our website. You can see that in our certifications and talking with clients because I, again, personally have been through it and it's not a fun time in your life and it's very stressful. But knowing what the answers and what you can do, I feel helps you make better decisions and easier decisions moving forward versus what we hear from other lenders and institutions is wait for your divorce to be finalized, then call us and we'll do something. That's not always true. And we can assist many clients and have assist many clients throughout the process with finalizing a refinance, purchasing of a house, as long as parties are wanting to work together. What I can suggest and tell you is if it's a contentious divorce, if people are very much fighting and not wanting to work together, we're not going to be able to do a lot for you. But we also know it's an emotional time and planning ahead for 6 to 12 months out is stuff that we do each and every day. We write up proposals for court, for judges, for attorneys to show the other party that, hey, they can do this or they can do that. So they have a game plan moving forward. And that's what we're really here to tell you today is if you have any questions about home loans and going through a divorce before, during, after, or how to make a plan, we can definitely help in all of those arenas. We have helped hundreds and hundreds of clients. And hopefully today you learn a little bit more about the process because divorce is a not fun time in your life. It's stressful. And we understand that. We want to be here to help hold your hand and get you to the finish line because I know after you get through this situation, life does get better. So we're always a phone call away here at Mortgage Specialists, 402-991-5153, or you can check us out on our website at mtg-specialist.com, where there's lots of information about divorce, about home loans that we've chatted about already. I hope you have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week, and we'll see you soon. Mortgage Specialists. Driven, trusted, reliable.